And do you think, obviously we've seen a huge uptake in peptide usage, and I think it's probably the biggest, fastest growing thing I've seen in kind of the health and fitness space. Do you think that's going to carry over into the mainstream even more and more?
I think so. It's still a grey area, and we have to go from sort of jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Everybody just throws a blanket over the FDA, but we're not all under the FDA, right? In the UAE we're under the MOHAPEDE, UK's under MHRA, so everyone's got their own take on peptides. So obviously with the recent classification move by the FDA, that removes them from unsafe, which they should have never been removed to unsafe anyway. And then this is going to start opening up more for compound pharmacies. And what we're trying to do is move away from the grey area as much as possible, and that is just to confirm or ratify that we're getting a good clean source. Now, most of us have been in the sector for long enough, we know how to source peptides, but the masses don't, so they need a trusted source, a regulated source. So by regulating where it's manufactured, go through a doctor, get a prescription, and then work with your alternative doctor or functional medicine doctor to have a clean source of peptides and protocols.
What's the worst place someone listening to this can get peptides from?
So there's loads of them. There's a lot.
The dude at the gym.
Exactly. I mean, I've heard of now hairdressers. Someone's going to the barbers and saying, "Do you want a peptide? We've got it under the counter." The people at the gym. And they say, "Well, where did you get it from?" COAs, and they give you the COA. You don't know where the lab is. Even the COA can be fake, and it's just understanding the source and the people behind it. I've always put my face to my peptide companies. I think that's a starting point. You go online and buy research use only peptide, which some of us have to. Check who the company is, check where their lab is. If it's got no name or person associated with the company, that's a bit of a red flag for me.
Okay, that's fair enough. And in terms of what would be the difference, so someone listening to this, of like what's the difference between peptides and say conventional drugs?
Yeah, so there's a couple of categories. So you sort of go from supplements to supplements to peptides to biologics, and supplements, we know what they do, any deficiencies, and drugs, they go to the far end. Drugs block, they sort of suppress things, they block. That's why we see side effects. They block a passage and then it goes on to a side effect. Peptides are optimizing the target area, so they're optimizing the target area to work more functionally with your natural body. So it's what the body does naturally, it's just basically sending a signal to do it more effectively.
And in terms of kind of starting places for people to kind of go down this rabbit hole, I think one of the big mistakes people jump into is they just want to take everything. Whereas I would say it's probably fair for people to realise what problem they need to probably solve first, and then kind of start from there and work backwards. Yeah,
there has to be an objective. I mean, on my let's call them peptide discovery calls, but on my consultation calls, the number one key, once I've explained the science behind peptides, so right, what's your objective? What is your key objective? And generally, it's biohackers, it's health optimization, healthy people looking to get healthier, and that's essentially who I should be working with. But of course, every now and then we come across people that are unwell, and we can work with doctors and adapt their protocols. But absolutely, work out what the objective is. And of course, because it's trending, people just want to do everything. And I spend now 80% of my time getting people to take less.
That's interesting. Is that in terms of dosage or also long-term usage? Because I also hear some horror stories of people, particularly like the GLP-1 stuff, where they go on ChatGPT and it tells them dose, or like some dude tells them at the gym and they take like 5-6 milligrams a week of retatrutide, and then they're like, they feel sick and they can't eat for 10 days. Where's the best kind of fountain of source for finding knowledge? Obviously, kind of get professional advice, but
professional. I don't know any. There's the reason why there's no sort of specific source as such is because it's so individual, and this is really what I've always had that because of my functional medicine background, but I think that's become more apparent as more people are using it, and I hear of people writing books and saying, right, this is the dose, or go to this cheat sheet and this is the dose, and it's like, well, I know from experience the most important call is the second call, because that's when we need to know, do we need to adapt the dose, how they're getting on with it, are they sticking to the protocols? So it's really, and it's sometimes about what people are not telling you as well, from good PT to a bad PT, right? It's the same thing, and you just really need to understand the individual, and that's a very difficult thing to document. And I think working with a functional medicine doctor or integrative doctor, or someone that really understands biological individuality, that's key when you're working with peptides.
Now, I'm not going to sound like Stephen Bartlett, but I know a lot of people coming onto our podcast and who are not subscribing but still enjoying the content. If I have one small ask from you, it's please hit the subscribe button. It'll help us a lot. So I found that personally myself. So with for example, like MOTC, I'm like a hyper responder where like I started taking that and my body just responded like wildfire. So you can just take more and more and more. Whereas I think different people don't respond so well to different compounds generally, whether it's peptides or other drugs.
Yeah, MOTC is a really interesting one because that's one of my pain points is MOTC.
Okay,
because
why?
MOTC is not like a normal peptide. So depending on who you work with, it's like a 15 or 16 chain peptide, which is fine. That's in the standard bracket, but it's DNA encoded, so it's really potent. So I was trained on MOTC in 2016, given this protocol and always swore by it. And I know of 2 people in the US since our podcast, not my clients, I have to say, they've gone into anaphylactic shock because they've taken too much MOTC. It's DNA encoded, it hits every cell in the body by default because it's mitochondria derived. And people get excited, they feel great, and they take it every day.
Yeah.
And then they run these protocols every day for 6 weeks, and you're supposed to pulse it, or that's how I was trained. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, maximum 4 weeks, maximum 4 times a year. So because people feel great on it, especially hyper responders, they just want to keep taking it. But as soon as you get any sort of irritation or rash, I mean, you should just do the pulsing anyway. But if you're just going to keep taking it, when you get the irritation, do not ignore it, because that is telling your body, that's your mast cells reacting, saying stop doing it. And then, as I say, severe cases, 2 out of probably hundreds of thousands of people have gone into anaphylactic shock from overdose.
Now, if you enjoyed this clip and you're a coach, creator, or a business owner and you want help in terms of how to scale your business using ads, AI, content, marketing, a lot of things we talk about on the show, then hit the link at the top line of our description in the YouTube video. You can book on a call with us and we'll walk through the whole process, audit your business, and show you where there's huge, huge opportunities for you to scale.